Welcome back, everyone. Well, tourism is booming again in Egypt after an 8-year slump. According to an economist group, 3 million more people visited Egypt in 2018 than in the year before. And Egypt's tourism minister says it's about to grow again. CNN emerging markets editor John Defterios joins me now from the Arabian travel market in Dubai. Good to see you again, John. So why are we seeing this increase in travellers to Egypt? What's behind the boom?
Well, you know, Rosemary, I think there's two key factors here. Number one is security and all the infrastructure that goes around it at airports, hotels, even the secret police. A very heavy hand in Egypt right now on that front to protect the visitors into the country. Number two, also broadening the offering beyond the sand and sea at the Mediterranean and also the Red Sea that we know about. But like Sri Lanka, today, Egypt had its challenges in the past, particularly in 2015 with the downing of the Russian jetliner over the Sinai. And we have a graphic here that illustrates the impact that it's had. The pre-Arab Spring high in Egypt was about 14 million visitors. And then you look at 2016 after that jetliner went down, and it was above 5 million. The recovery last year wasn't impressive, above 11 million. So I asked the Egyptian tourism minister, Rania Al-Mashat, why it's so important to protect the sector itself and how you go about doing it. Let's take a listen.
Tourism in Egypt represents 15% of GDP. The first priority for the government was to ensure that everyone feels secure and safe. There was a lot spent on the infrastructure related to security. Moreover, the private sector in Egypt plays the key role in promoting tourism. 98% of the sector is led by the private sector, and the government came in after those events to assist the private sector by giving breaks related to bills with electricity, water, power, etc.
There's a big focus on cultural tourism and the Grand Egyptian Museum at the shadow of the Giza pyramids. Is it a game changer in terms of putting you on the global arena? Can it have too much of a burden, or does it have that potential?
No, it's the Grand Egyptian Museum, and it's short for the GEM. Is going to be open in the fourth quarter of 2020. It is, again, a clear testament that Egypt has a lot of heritage and a lot of antiquities to show to the world. In an era where cultural tourism is on a decline, we believe that the GEM is going to revive cultural tourism again, not just to Egypt, but to the whole world. This is the only museum in the world that has the full collection of Tutankhamun, the pharaoh behind the golden mask, and also the only place where the pyramid is the backdrop.
We know youth unemployment is acute. It's nearly 25% in the Middle East, North Africa, and the role of tourism. But how do you move the average job up the value chain here to give them good salaries and jobs at the same time?
In 2018, we launched the Egypt Tourism Reform Program. And the overarching objective is that we want to have at least one individual from each Egyptian household working in the sector. So that means that training, capacity development, allowing the youth to engage when it comes to startups, technology, digitalization, which is very key in this sector, is something that we believe in and we promote.
You saw the shock in Sri Lanka. Egypt's gone through its own security challenges. What's the message to the Sri Lankans in the heat of the challenge that they face right now, would you suggest?
Egypt, just last month, was recognized by the World Travel and Tourism Council as a champion for resilience in tourism, for the efforts that the government exerted investing in security and putting together the reform program. And making everyone feel safe is exactly what we are trying to do in Egypt. And I believe that all countries around the world are doing that as well and should be doing that.
Rania Al-Mashat, once again, the Minister of Tourism in Egypt. Their growth last year, by the way, Rosemary, was 16% in the sector versus the global average of 4%. But I've been at this Arabian travel market for 10 years now, and each year the narrative around security is, in fact, more important. There's even a social unrest index from the International Monetary Fund. We have war in Yemen and Syria, Libya, unrest in Sudan, of course, in Algeria. So it's a challenging climate, but Egypt's stood down that threat today and why it's grown so much in 2018.
Very interesting. John Defterios, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. And we'll take a